As we got set to go, Shane Bieber, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, threw the snowflakes, made a mistake in the first inning with one on. Miguel Cabrera, a ball that Bieber wanted to be down in the zone. He left up and threw the snowflakes. Cabrera hit it out. He didn't know he hit it out. Look, he slides into second. He thought he was running the bases for a double, but it was his 488th career home run. The Indians did not score until the ninth inning when Roberto Perez tees off and hits a two-run homer to make it tight at 3-2. But they left the tying run on as Cesar Hernandez popped up to end the game. The final score was 3-2. I would say that Bieber was a tough luck loser today. He went 6 innings and he struck out 12 in the game. And Betsy, I would say this. It's only one game, no doubt about it. But today is a snapshot of what people are worried about with the Indians. Will they hit enough this year? And today there were a lot of bad at-bats, and there was only that one swing of the bat by Roberto Perez that got them on the board. They'll get tomorrow off, and Game 2 of the series coming up against the Tigers is on Saturday, and hopefully better weather in Detroit.
It will be. I promised Tito it would be. They're going to be back up into the 50s just like we will, certainly. So, Jimmy, we'll catch up with you coming up in just a little bit. Sarah?
Feed at 5. Well, first, let's talk about Monday. Monday, the home opener right here on WKYC. Our special coverage starts at 2 o'clock. Ahead of that game, it's going to be an exciting one in Cleveland to see people back inside Progressive Field after a long season last year. Moving on now to your Feed at 5. The number of coronavirus cases in Ohio is on the rise. After a brief plateau, it seems things are now going in the wrong direction. 2,475 people have been diagnosed in the past 24 hours. The 3-week average is around 1,700. Now, the bigger problem, that means our cases per 100,000 also going in the wrong direction. It's up to 167 cases per 100,000 Ohioans. Earlier this week, it was at 147. Now, remember, we need to get down to 50 cases per 100,000 people in order for Governor DeWine to lift health restrictions. Now, Governor DeWine made 2 major announcements today. First, starting next week, all Ohio college students will be able to get vaccinated right on campus. They'll be using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which means those students will only have to get 1 shot. Governor DeWine says this is a convenient way for young people to protect themselves and the people they love.
I think that they understand that they can be spreaders. I think they want to go see their grandmother. They want to go see family and friends. And it just is something that I think you're going to see a lot of young people do.
Governor DeWine also announced that vaccines will be available in many workplaces beginning in mid-April. He's been speaking with union groups, factories, and other businesses that will team up with providers to offer the shots right at work.
Now to a developing story out of Rocky River. Parents gathered outside of the Board of Education this afternoon, making sure their voices were heard. This as leaders inside the building discussed the allegations that several male high school teachers were talking inappropriately about a female student. Earlier this month, 6 Rocky River school staff members were put on leave because of a video that surfaced, and police originally determined that there wasn't enough evidence to charge anyone. But then they reopened that case this week. Now parents want answers.
It's damaging to our kids, that type of talk and those types of attitudes.
The reason I'm here is because I don't feel like the Rocky River Police Department went about an appropriate and honorable process. So right now, I think what we all want to see, what we all want to know is that there's an honorable process in place. The outcome will take care of itself.
Our Will Ewick is covering this story for us tonight. He'll have a report coming up on what matters most at 6. You're looking live now, Sarah.
Inside that Minneapolis courtroom, Betsy, where it is day 4 as former police officer Derek Chauvin stands trial for the murder of George Floyd. There were more tears in the courtroom today as Floyd's girlfriend gave emotional testimony, and jurors heard from paramedics called to the scene that fateful day. NBC's Jay Gray catches us up.
You're outside the hearing of the jury.
Fighting through tears.
Floyd came to me.
George Floyd's girlfriend tells jurors she was at a difficult time in her life when they first met.
He said, said, well, can I pray with you?
From the witness stand, Courtney Ross discusses their 3-year relationship, acknowledging she and Floyd battled opioid addiction, something defense attorneys pressed on during cross-examination.
It was your belief that Mr. Floyd started using again about 2 weeks prior to his death, correct?
I noticed a change in his behavior, yes.
For the first time, jurors also hear from the paramedics called to the scene the day Floyd died.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm?
Derek Smith's first response rushing to Floyd, trying to find a pulse.
Did not detect a pulse.
And what did his condition appear to be to you overall?
In lay terms, I thought he was dead.
Smith says he had to move police out of the way to get Floyd into the ambulance.
I wanted to get my patient to my rig as quickly as possible so I could begin my resuscitation efforts.
Efforts that ultimately were unable to save his life. Legal observers point out the late testimony today may signal an anticipated shift in focus by the prosecution, bringing in the medical aspects in the case. Jay Gray, NBC News, Minneapolis.
And the death of George Floyd and the trial of Derek Chauvin will be the focus of our A Turning Point special tonight at 7. To preview some of the issues it will explore, we're continuing our series on YWCA of Greater Cleveland's 21-day challenge. January Keaton has a look at the issue of reparations and why it was a keystone of the challenge this year amid increased attention on issues of racial justice.
Listening, learning, inspiring change. As our nation continues to grapple with racial injustice, inequality, and racism, a renewed spotlight on education and personal responsibility. YWCA is among the many organizations invested in this work. They launched their 21-day challenge back in 2019. At the time, 2,500 people signed on. And this month, more than 18,000 people across 48 states are choosing to take a deep personal dive into issues of structural racism and social inequity.
We've seen a lot of interest in the challenge growth since the protests around the murder of George Floyd. I think a lot of white people are kind of waking up for the first time to realize the depth of systemic racism. And this challenge really gives people the opportunity to get curious, to expand their knowledge, and gives them the tools to really dig in and hopefully become allies.
YWCA's Paige Robar says the goal of the challenge is to encourage participants to face how structural racism presents itself in everyday life. Robar says, we know the problem. It's now time to take steps to make it right.
Reparations was a huge keystone for us this year because I think there's been so much conversation on the damage that systemic racism has done that the next step really is to get into how you repair that damage. And reparations seems like the clearest way forward.
Reparations is one of the more controversial topics surrounding giving back to the Black community. The idea that Blacks should be compensated for the atrocities of slavery trickling down to racist practices of more recent times doesn't sit well with everyone. But in an unprecedented move, Evanston, Illinois recently became the first city in the nation to pay reparations to Black residents who suffered housing discrimination between the years 1919 and 1969 or their descendants. But this isn't the first time reparations has been attempted in America. It also happened during the Reconstruction era, right after the Civil War.
There was an attempt to give Black people, enslaved people land and ensure voting rights and all of these things that were eventually rolled back during the Jim Crow era. It continues now with the legacy of redlining, with the wealth gap.
The 21-day challenge devoted an entire week focusing on reparations alone.
We're still trying to fix damages that are happening right now at this moment.
All right, we have 15.
George Floyd is thrust back into the forefront of our minds as his accused killer's trial gears up as the world remembers when cities erupted in rallies and protests over his passing, putting one collective voice to a persistent and perpetual problem in this country: racial and social injustice.
Systemic racism impacts all Black people in America, not just those who are direct descendants of enslaved people.
Well, tonight, our Turning Point special focuses on the death of George Floyd and the trial of Derek Chauvin. Join January, Jim Donovan, and Sarah Shookman right here on 3 at 7 p.m. Coming up next for us here on What's New, combating return to work stress. Our Holly Strano looks into how you can think proactively as we return to the office.
Plus, Lizzo is making history. The popular music festival she is set to headline this year, ahead in your pop break. And Matt, we talked about it, April coming in with a punch today, but we have seen spring snow before.
Yeah, here's the deal, Sarah. We're just going to forget about today. We're going to focus on the future. Live look at CSU Cam right now. Cloudy scene. It's been rocking as we continue to have that cold wind. But things are going to get better. If you have outdoor dining plans tonight, I would probably recommend heading inside. Might be a little bit warmer in there as that snow continues. But again, we've got lots of outdoor dining and days outside ahead. I'll share with you in the 7-day forecast coming up. Oh, okay. I was just going to go to the bathroom. Here we go. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Hurry. See ya.
Well, all this week here on What's New, we've been talking about how things will look when Ohio starts to reopen. In today's routine reset, we are taking a look at stress returning to the office and how it can affect you. Here's our Holly Strano.
We talked with a Cleveland Clinic doctor who suggests thinking about it this way. Think of all the things we did wrong to combat stress when the pandemic began. The overeating and drinking, not forming a good schedule, not being active, and, of course, overthinking and fearing the unknown. Then start thinking proactively about ways to counter those habits. But here's the important part. Listen to how you talk to yourself as you prepare.
Doom speak. I often refer to it as catastrophic thinking, where our brain often goes to that absolute worst case scenario. It's an anticipatory worry that it's very easy to then feed into. And what I often work with my patients on, again, is to focus on that emotional presence, to focus on what is actually happening in the moment, rather than worrying about what may happen in the future, or conversely, what has happened in the past.
And that was Holly Strano reporting. That idea of doom speak gonna stick with me. The best way to avoid that, though, is to give yourself some grace. Remember, this is a new season and we're all just doing the best we can. Tomorrow, we're gonna wrap up our series with the questions you should be asking your employers when you return to the office.
All right, it's 5:17. We can't speak around the topic anymore. We can't hide. Even though, Matt, I did actually consider bringing in a hat and sunglasses and wearing those here as I toss to you right now, kind of hiding. Today, I'll tell it. I'm just going to say it. We had much stronger intensity of snowfall bursts coming through the area. You mentioned it yesterday, but it was more intense than I thought it was even going to be. And we're not quite done yet.
Yeah, Betsy, there's a mustache and a wig that's in my bottom drawer. I haven't seen it in a month and a half. I won't describe what I use that for, but if you need it, just let me know. And yeah, I remember distinctly saying a couple inches yesterday in spots. The problem is we got more than a couple inches in a couple spots.
Right.
Some of the reports, 5-6 inches in Bath, North Royalton. Those were some of the leaders on the west side of Cleveland. So you're right, that April heat and intensity from the solar heating that we got really kicked off some of these bands. So I'm not going to brush by the snow, but I do want to talk April 1st. It's a new month, and I love to get to know the month out there. So this is where we're heading for the month of April. Average high today, 53 degrees. By the end of the month, we're talking an average high of 65 degrees. In terms of lows, most of us are sleeping, but average low 35 right now, 45 by the end of the month. So we're certainly getting on the warmer side of things as you'd expect. And I think one of the things you'll notice is really that increase in daylight. We gain over an hour, about an hour 16. And look at that sunrise. It'll be 6:24 in the morning by the end of the month, and that sunset approaching 8:30 as we continue to gain about 2 minutes and 45 seconds per day. Now this, we need to gain more daylight quicker than that because it needs to heat things up around here. Still dealing with some snow. This will start to wind down tonight, but I think we've got another 5 or 6 hours of these scattered snow showers. If you're following me on Twitter today, I was talking about the 2 pushes of snow that we'd get. We got the morning round of heavier snow. We got an afternoon round you could see pushing south. We're done with those big pushes of snow. We have leftover snow showers from here, so nothing organized that's really going to cause a problem on area roadways. But we'll have to keep an eye on that after sunset. That solar radiation, despite the cloud cover, still melts the snow pretty nicely. Look how it's winding down off towards the north. Lake Michigan's done. We've got Lake Huron winding down. We've got drier air moving in, so that will put an end to our lake effect snow. This cold front goes all the way down towards the Gulf Coast. You can see where it was yesterday. Today, it's all the way down to South Florida, so we're going to set record lows across many areas of the Deep South. In fact, there are freeze warnings and frost advisories all the way to the Gulf Coast. What a week to spring break, right? But for us, we're stuck in the cold 20s and 30s. That's all the better we did today. We're low 30s outside. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast bringing in some drier conditions. Your Friday will have lots of sunshine. It will be chilly. We're going to have some leftover lake effect clouds. Otherwise, we're sunny. Temperatures ought to make a run into the low 40s tomorrow. And then Saturday, we're going to start with sunshine and eventually we'll increase some clouds as we go throughout the afternoon. Saturday looking even warmer. We should make it up into the 50s and probably mid-50s at that with those clouds. In terms of your 7-day forecast, well, things get a lot better from here, although it will turn a little showery. Union Home Mortgage 7-day, 56 on Saturday. There's your Easter Sunday, still looking great. Tribe Home Opener looking great as well. And then we turn kind of Seattle-like next week. It does look like we have multiple days of rain later next week. Temperatures, though, Sarah, are going to be warm enough to keep things all liquid at this point. So that's really staying positive here.
April showers, as long as they're not snow, that's fine. All right.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
right.
Matt. Still ahead on What's New, it is the battle of the late night hosts, and all for a good cause, how you can help them raise money to feed hungry kids.
And a local school district collected cereal boxes for food banks, but not without having a little fun. It's coming up in our Worth the Watch.
Late night hosts are battling over pizza, all for a good cause. Plus, Hailey Bieber is calling it quits with Twitter. And Lizzo is making history. Kiara Cotton has all the details in today's Pop Break.
I want everyone to like me. It's like part of my downfall at times, and I'm working through it.
Hailey Bieber is opening up about the role social media plays in her life. In a new video posted to her YouTube channel, the 24-year-old model and wife to singer Justin Bieber says that she left Twitter because it was a toxic environment.
The thought of even opening the app gives me such bad anxiety that I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
In the video, she also discusses ways she protects herself while using social media, including limiting her browsing and changing her settings so that only people that she knows can comment on her posts. And Lizzo is making history. The Grammy Award-winning singer will headline this year's Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival, and she's the first woman to ever do so. The annual festival will take place in September after being postponed due to COVID-19. Other acts on the lineup include the Foo Fighters, Megan Thee Stallion, Lana Del Rey, and many more. And it's a late-night battle for a good cause. Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon are competing to see who has the best pizza. But the late-night hosts are letting fans decide, as long as they make a $5 donation to No Kid Hungry. Fallon kicked off the duel over the weekend in a video trying to recreate Stanley Tucci's pie from his new series Exploring Italy. But not to be outdone, Kimmel quickly responded with a recreation video of his own.
Now, I know Stanley Tucci as well. He's a friend of mine, and you, my friend, are no Stanley Tucci. So let me show you how to make a pizza, okay?
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm always in the mood for pizza. So no matter how you slice this one, I think everybody wins. Back to you guys.
If I had a pizza oven like that, I think I could make some pretty good pizza too. Oh, yay. All right, well, everybody loves a good domino effect, right? And today's Worth the Watch comes from Brook Park Elementary School in Berea. Hi, gang. The Student Council sponsored a cereal box drive to help support local food pantries in the school district, and they collected 700 boxes. Great job. They decided to do a little domino run before they donated the food. And this is a new trend that's catching on. Just last week, Lamond Elementary School in Shaker Heights collected more than 1,300 boxes of cereal for charity, and they also had a domino run. My favorite part of watching those, Sarah, is watching the kids as the boxes tip over. You can track where the boxes are by the reactions of the kids. It's so cute. They get so excited.
This one was impressive. Look, they split. And all the students helped them set up these boxes.
Yeah.
Just made it so much fun, and all for a good cause, with that food going to a place it is much in need.
The anticipation is like a parade coming.
Yes.
Just get so excited, and then it finally starts. Well, still ahead on what's new for us here today. Ordering furniture or appliances during the pandemic is definitely a bit of a gamble. The real reason why many Americans are waiting months for their new purchases to arrive.
And we're saving you money. The big items on sale in April, and the other ones that are worth waiting a little bit longer on.
Then the parents of these two boys might be in the doghouse. Their reaction to an April Fool's joke that has Baker Mayfield talking. We'll see on the flip.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New on this Friday Eve, as we like to call it. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Sarah Schickman, who's sitting in for Jay today. Sarah, thanks for hanging out.
Hey, good to be here. It is April Fool's Day. No pranks yet. I got a little nervous. You know, when you're the guest on the show, you feel like there might be something buried in here I might not know what to look for.
I am always on standby. I am so jukey on this day. I'm just... Everything. Is that a joke? No. Okay. So always gauging.
Yeah, but it is a new month. We're going to turn a new page. And coming up in about 20 minutes, we have a story that will save our viewers some money. Danielle Serino shares what to buy and not to buy here in April.
All right. Well, we start this 5:30 half hour as we do every day with 3 things you need to know. Today, George Floyd's girlfriend testified in Derek Chauvin's murder trial. It was a very emotional testimony about their relationship and Floyd's battle with opioid addiction. Also today, for the first time, jurors heard from paramedics who had been called to the scene on the day that Floyd died. Experts believe the prosecution may be shifting to the medical aspects of the case as the trial continues.
And meanwhile, a snowy morning here at home caused a messy commute pileups on I-90 near Rocky River and this one on 77. 23 cars and trucks were involved. The crashes forced I-77 to close in both directions in Richfield from the Ohio Turnpike to just south of Wheatley Road for hours. 42 people were involved, 6 of them taken to the hospital. Thankfully, no life-threatening injuries.
And Governor DeWine announced this afternoon that the state will start vaccinating college kids as early as next week. While students are already eligible for the shot, they will now be able to get the vaccine without leaving campus. So they're taking the vaccine to them. Governor DeWine says students will get the Johnson & Johnson brand of the vaccine. There's no word yet on how students can schedule appointments for that. Well, now we move on to our top talker, and many people have been using their stimulus checks and extra time to make some upgrades around their houses. But with the increase in demand for furniture, plus a pandemic, the wait times on your orders, it's getting longer.
And Manny Abraham tells us what's causing these delays and what you can do to avoid it.
If you want to, design your own sectional, pick your fabric, it's going to take time right now because they're just the backlogs for these companies and are just huge.
Brothers Jason and Paul Serino are with the Cleveland Furniture Company. They say on average, making a special order on furniture means that it may take a few weeks to come in. But today, the wait is much longer.
Right now, it's, I believe, 25 weeks, which is 6 months.
Mark Yeager with Redwood Logistics calls it a perfect storm.
This is the most significant global disruption I've ever seen. It's a breakdown of a fundamentally different nature.
It all surfaced during the pandemic. He says increased demand for furniture and appliances and supply chain issues have caused those delays.
You've seen a great decline in exports out of the United States and Europe. So for every 3 containers leaving Asia right now, there's only 1 coming back in. So this has created a significant supply shortage of containers. Additionally, what you're seeing is productivity throughput issues in the ports. So this is creating a backlog of ships.
The problem could continue.
I think it's going to remain a disrupted supply chain market for at least the remainder of the year. It will probably get somewhat more normalized than it is right now, but we won't see full recovery in 2021.
So what can you do to avoid those delays? The Serino brothers recommend looking for items that are already in stock.
And every customer that came in yesterday that I sold is getting delivered next week.
For those who have their hearts set on a custom piece, chances are that a months-long delay may follow. At this point, there's no timeline on when things may go back to normal. Manny Abraham, 3 News.
So in other words, if you have completely redecorated your living room and you have that perfect custom couch that you may be spending that stimulus check on, you're gonna have to have your old couch in your new living room for a little while.
Everybody's just gonna have to put up with that, I guess. And 6 months, maybe it'll go fast. It'll go fast once things open back up. I think the appliances, that's the other part of this. I just want to praise my dishwasher real quick. It is getting more use than ever before. And I just needed to hang on because it's not young. and it just needs to keep doing its thing.
There are two things that I have decided I will always have in a house going forward. That is a dishwasher and a garage door opener. You
clutch.
don't realize how much you miss them until you don't have them.
So true.
Short amounts of time, very different from longer amounts of time. So yes, the unheralded appliances for sure.
Yes, I love you, dishwasher. Hang on. Still ahead for us, COVID tests delivered. How DoorDash is going to make this happen.
Plus, a new month means new sales. Consumer investigator Danielle Serino looks into what you should buy this month and what's best to hold off on. That's coming up. We also, of course, are going to be talking a little bit more about the weather, true Cleveland style. We've had snow squalls, and now we have some sunshine out there. Go, Matt.
Yeah, a little bit of everything for everybody, Betsy, except for warm temperatures. CSU Cam right now still rocking in that wind. That wind will slowly subside tonight as high pressure builds in. And as high pressure builds in, we'll lose the lake effect snow. Still some decent squalls. They're very brief, mainly west and south of Cleveland. Meanwhile, snow showers for the rest of us. I've got great news in your forecasts for your Easter weekend and your Tribe home opener coming up after the break.
Truly, everybody, today was a bit of a pothole. It gets much better from here. Well, we're going to be talking a lot about our Save Our Sauce restaurants, of course, and we talk a lot about Dante Bacuzzi here on 3 News, but how can you not? His Tremont restaurant, Dante, next door, offers a great brunch. Think of orange marmalade, pancakes, bananas, Foster, waffles, shrimp and grits, which is good any time of day. Yep, all that stuff, it's available there. And our Doug Tratner made a whole list of the best brunch spots around town. We can find that now, WKYC.com/SaveOurSauce.
Okay. Hey Al, happy April Fool's Day. Did you get tricked today? I've been keeping low, so I've been good so far. Oh. That's funny. I was gonna say, that was pretty almost true today, probably.
All right, here we go again, talking about this weather forecast. But the good news is all the bad stuff is behind us. And going forward, it just kind of gets better and better and better as we head through the weekend. So, Matt, now we get to kind of make the good transition. It's not the snow that we have to focus on now.
Yeah, Betsy, this is a forecast I'm glad to give for sure. You mentioned all the good stuff or the bad stuff's behind us. I have all the bad stuff stored behind our green screen down here in the basement. There's all sorts of boxes and my old gym shoes, all sorts of stuff. So my wife has no idea where that stuff went. It's right behind us. I'm still in my basement for those of you at home that don't know. And by the way, you told me to come out of my basement, Betsy, and you said the snow had melted. You lied. I went outside today. There's still some snow on the ground. So I think we'll wait another month.
You can't go down there in December and not emerge until the day it snows in April. Jeez.
I'm like a caterpillar down here. It's great. Getting ready to emerge here over the next couple of weeks. Temperatures, boy, today went into the books at 37 degrees for a high. Does anyone remember that? That's another day in the books where we had the high temperature just after midnight. We've been in the low 30s and upper 20s since. A chilly day. This is reminiscent of what you'd expect in the heart of winter in January with average highs in the low 30s. Lake effect snow continues. That second push went through. That was the big one that laid down more snow after that morning push of snow. These were kind of areas of energy in the atmosphere that helped to lift some of that snow off the lake, but that is now long gone. We're going to deal with some snow squalls and snow showers the rest of the evening. I don't think there'll be anything particularly organized that's going to last long, but you can see Akron, you've cleared out pretty decent snow. It's brief over towards the Brimfield Township, Mogador area, down towards Lake, and overall that will be clearing out next couple minutes. We've got some snow near the Worcester area. Smithville just got out of the snow. Doylestown, Orville getting some snowflakes right now, and a pretty good burst coming through northern Ashland County right now. Ashland, you're getting snow. This will head south a little bit more here over the next couple minutes as that continues to head south. Look at the big picture, though. This lake effect snow winding down. We've got drier air kicking in. Still a couple hours of it. We keep our eye on Lake Huron, kind of a telltale of what's going to happen here. But the cold air is stuck in place. This is all the way down to spring breakers in Florida along the Gulf Coast. They'll have some frost, even some freeze where they've got a lot of the foliage already out, areas of the Tennessee Valley. For us, though, we're going to see clearing skies. We'll likely have some lake effect snow showers through about midnight, and then we should clear things out. Friday looks great with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. We'll have sunshine. It will be chilly tomorrow. The wind will start to ease, so not a bad afternoon. We'll make it up into the 40s, and then as we get into Friday night and Saturday, still a chilly start on your Saturday. We're not quite in that warmth yet. Saturday, we'll start to build it in here. We will have some clouds, especially Saturday afternoon. Temperatures should make it in the mid, even upper 50s by Saturday, so much different pattern around here Saturday. Boy, next week gets tricky. We've got a dome of warmth out towards the west. We're going to be right on this dividing line all next week between cold air to the north, warm air to the south. So depending on what model you're looking at, we're either going to be in the 60s and 70s or we're going to be in the 50s. So we're going to kind of go in between. Next week's going to be a forecast you're going to want to pay attention to. But one thing's for sure, beautiful weekend, beautiful Easter, beautiful opening day. And then it gets kind of tricky with these rain showers around. We've got us in the 60s for now. But Betsy, we spent a long time in that call today deciphering these numbers. So we'll just have to stay tuned on next week's forecast for sure.
Some days our forecast calls are very quick, and other days we are belittling and just kind of going through 1 degree at a time, trying to nail down exactly what the temperature will be. So we really do try hard. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you a little bit later.
Well, time now to see what is clicking in Cleveland on this April Fool's Day. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Sarah. You know what? I will tell you, April Fool's Day gets more and more savage every year. Check out the reaction when these parents tell their sons that Baker Mayfield was traded to the Steelers.
Are you serious? Yeah, so dumb of them just to bounce them off to their rivals. It's April Fool's Day, Andrew. You're joking. Oh.
Good joke, Dad, right?
Bad joke!
Oh, man, I am with you, little buddy. That is savage. Baker Mayfield thought so, too. He retweeted the video, and he said he feels their pain. All right, you know what? This is not a joke. You can now get COVID-19 tests delivered through DoorDash here in Cleveland. We're one of 12 cities where you can get that, and it's one of 2 PCR tests. They're each about $100. And yes, both of them are FDA emergency use approved. One is a nasal test and the other is a spit test, and you can order them in the app's virtual convenience stores. And with it being opening day, it's time for our annual predictions for the Tribe's upcoming season. When it comes to the overall record, Jay, Betsy, and I have a real Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing going on here. Jay predicted the least wins, Betsy predicted the most wins, and I slid right in the middle there. Digital producer Tyler Carey and sports reporter Nick Camino both guessed the Tribe would finish best at second in the American League Central Division. And for breakout player, Sarah guessed Josh Naylor, and Mike Polk Jr. had more to say. He predicts pitcher Logan Allen and that he's not here long before moving on to somewhere that will pay a little bit more money. You're going to want to read that whole thing at WKYC.com. Betsy and Sarah, I really loved your takes for how the season will end up. Sarah, you went with predicting the name. What do you think?
I said there will be a name change at the end of the season, maybe, and I'm going with Guardians. I just like it. I love the Guardians of Traffic, those statues. I just think they're so iconically Cleveland.
I'm looking in my sent mail right now to see what I actually said because I don't remember. But I think I said something about who knows, that's the fun of the game. I think that's what I said.
That's exactly what you said, Betsy, and I loved it. Very open-ended, very let's see what happens. I'm here for it.
It's weather forecasting coming right at you. All right, thank you so much, Stephanie. We'll catch up with you tomorrow for the Friday edition of What's Clicking in Cleveland. Still ahead for us here on What's New, you are helping you get extra bang for your buck. That's what we do, and we're gonna let you know what to and what not to buy in April.
But first, we talk a shortage and a price hike. Which companies are now increasing prices on toilet paper and other care products you probably have to buy?
And happy April Fool's Day. This day is dedicated to pranks, and the question is, how far back does it date? 1582, 1850, or 1912? We're gonna have the answer when we return. No fooling.
I got you, Al. Okay, yep.
All right, so before the break, we asked you how far back April Fool's dates. This is so interesting. The answer is 1582, and according to History.com, it dates back to when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. In the Julian calendar, the new year begins on April 1st. So people who didn't get the news that the new year moved to January 1st continued to celebrate it during the last week of March through April 1st, and they became the butt of jokes and hoaxes and were called April Fools.
Wow, I kind of love that fact. I'm going to try to remember that one because I would have thought it would be more recent, one of those, every day is a something day. I mean, now we've really gotten carried away with that,
Right.
but April Fools, 1900s, I would have said yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kick it old school on April Fools.
There you go. Did you know today is National Burrito Day as well? And that is not an April Fool's joke. And you can even get deals at several big chains, and it kicks off a month of sales on a variety of items. So here's our consumer investigator, Danielle Serino, with what to buy and what to skip in April.
Easter kicks off the sales in April, and while it's sometimes hard to think about next year, the day after the holiday, you'll find everything Easter on sale, including sweets, which you can save for Mother's Day. But you'll also find deals on the actual holiday.
You can kind of sneak out on that morning and go to your local drugstore. You will get amazing clearance level discounts on the Easter candy if you can get out before the kids are up and looking at their Easter baskets.
Next up, Earth Day on the 22nd. Eco-friendly products like rechargeable batteries or clothing made with recycled or organically grown materials tend to be more expensive, but expect discounts from the companies that sell them.
You're likely to see a lot of organic and natural foods on sale. LED light bulbs are likely to be on sale also.
Now, all month long is National Car Care Month, so you'll find sales on car parts and accessories.
If you are looking to, get a checkup on your car, if you need new tires, things like that, it is a good time to look around for deals.
And as the weather warms up, you'll see deals on gardening supplies, including plants.
Remember, plants are perishable, so they come in and they're going to have to get rid of them, so they really want to have some attractive prices.
You'll also get deep discounts on everything winter-related, including killer prices on clothing.
If you are shopping in store, look for that clearance rack. It may not be as full as it might have been last month, but you might find some fantastic deals if you're willing to, say, invest in a winter coat right now and save for the next winter.
Which takes us to what not to buy, spring or summer clothing. They'll be full price. So will anything backyard or pool related.
You may have to wait until August or September to get clearance prices on garden furniture. And the same thing with barbecues, beginning of the barbecue season. You may see one or two grills on sale, but for the most part, they're just putting them out now, so they're going to be full price.
And as much as you may want to spruce up your backyard or home for spring, wait on major appliances and mattresses.
The deals will be very strong around Memorial Day. So if you can hold off on those two categories until Memorial Day, I would absolutely do so.
Being a good consumer, you check the Sunday circulars, and it doesn't have to fall in the normal list of what you see in April. If it's a good deal, grab it. Just make sure you're not influenced by an exaggerated savings claim.
There are several sites like dealnewsandoffers.com which list specific sales, and we have those links at WKYC.com. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
I was just reminded again that Easter is on Sunday. I don't know if anybody else is suffering from this. I have been talking about Easter being Sunday, but it never really registered. Easter is Sunday, and you can get great deals on chocolate on Monday. Just saying. Well, first came the toilet paper shortages. Now, price increases. The maker of the Cottonelle, Scott, and Viva brands announced that it will hike prices on items including toilet paper and baby care items. The price hike is due to commodity cost inflation. The company's other brands include Kleenex tissues, Kotex hygiene products, and Huggies diapers. You can expect to see the increases in June. So now that we're telling everybody that the price is going to be increasing in June, here come the new shortages as people are buying, they're saving a few cents and hoarding the toilet paper all over again.
Time to stockpile, apparently, and I worry, even though we're just talking about some specific brands there, that probably everybody could follow suit, even the generic stuff that you buy at Costco. And for diapers, that makes me nervous.
And with the stockpiling, I'm still having problems not having that hoarding instinct. When we went through the meat shortages in the early, anytime I'd find meat, I'm like, I will take as much as I can get, right? I only get my 2 packages, so I'm going to take 2 even though I don't need them.
Fill up the freezer. Yep.
And I'm still digging out the freezer, but I still go to the store and I'm like, I can put it in the freezer. Slow down, everybody.
Right.
It's okay.
Take what you need. It'll be there. No worries. Still ahead for us on What's New, a long reunion in the making. How one son surprised his parents after a long time away.
This is such a cute story. And then at 6 on What Matters Most, the importance of recognizing and talking about stress. April is Stress Awareness Month, and our Monica Robbins speaks to a local doctor about just how serious chronic stress is. We'll be right back.
Checkity check, 1 2 1 2. Will and Rocky River outside the Board of Education.
Good evening, I'm Russ Mitchell. It's been a while for that. Ha, okay, ironically, yes, exactly. The joke's on me. Good evening, thank you.
It's something we have all been looking forward to, reuniting with our loved ones. Check out this video in today's Show Us Something Good. Diana Pollock, who is one of our family members here at Channel 3, she has not seen her son Patrick in over a year, and her husband Greg hasn't seen him in over 2 years since Patrick has been in the Navy. There you see her reaction. He's been in the Pacific, he's been stationed in the Pacific Ocean, so he got his papers to come home a little early, and he surprised them. Truthfully, she was on a Zoom call and turned around and there was her son. And so, you know, the folks on the Zoom call got to see it. But so cute and just, man, nothing like that hug, that mother's love. Those reunion stories just get me all the time.
So special, and they are good people, so we're so glad they're reunited. 3 News has a whole new campaign called Feel the Love, where we are asking you, our viewers, across Northeast Ohio to share your reunions with us after this quarantine of the last year. So just use the hashtag reunions on3, and you can upload your photos using the WKYC app Near Me feature as well.
It is a really cool way to do it. National Hope Month this month, so continue to bring that hope. Well, thanks everybody for staying with us and watching What's New today. We'll see you again back here tomorrow.
And What Matters Most with Russ starts right now.
Now at 6, rally in Rocky River. Parents making their concerns heard amid a police investigation into several teachers. We have the latest as the school board holds a special meeting. Also, it's no joke. April 1st brought snow and tricky driving conditions across the area. We have an update on a crash involving more than 20 cars, impacting the community.
We're basically giving away our payroll.
The local church that's backing up prayer with purpose and a big donation to help those in need. And play ball. Baseball season finally here. Jimmy Donovan has the highlights of the Indians' opening day in Detroit.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell. Laura is off tonight. We begin with an update on that investigation into several teachers at Rocky River High School. Today, parents held a rally before a special school board meeting to address allegations that several male teachers were speaking inappropriately about a female student. All of this comes as police reopen the case. Will Ewick has the latest.
We cannot allow this type of behavior to be normalized.
Concerned parents in Rocky River
That does not belong in a school. That behavior is unacceptable.
are making sure the school board knows where they stand.
This discussion they had and the picture that they at least thought they received was very inappropriate, and they do not belong in a building with our kids.
The group of parents gathered earlier today before the closed executive session, which was called to address the situation at the school. Last month, officials began looking into a filmed video conversation between several teachers, which included inappropriate comments about a student, as well as discussing an alleged sexually explicit photo of a female student taken by one of their colleagues.
And the first thing that I saw when I saw the video was, is my daughter going to be next?
6 Rocky River School District staff members were put on administrative leave after the video was released. But last week, Rocky River Police determined there wasn't sufficient evidence to charge anyone in the incident, stating no photos of students or inappropriate discussions about students were in text message threads among the teachers. Then earlier this week, police announced they were reopening the investigation after they received new evidence suggesting that undisclosed information may exist that indicates criminal activity.
We're working on a plan right now to help students, to help staff, to help parents, because we need to heal.
The Rocky River Teachers Association released a statement saying despite the case being reopened, they remain confident the same conclusion will be met again. Parents, however, want to make sure this allegation gets a thorough review.
We all want to know is that there's an honorable process in place.
I'm a parent of a child in the district, and I stand beside them, I stand with them, and I know they have expectations for me to take appropriate action, and absolutely I will.
The superintendent also mentioned they'll be sending their findings down to the Ohio Department of Education for an independent review. And while he's still in there addressing the board, going over all the facts, Russ, they're not expecting any official decisions to be made today, but will be discussing different and possible resolutions.
Okay, Will Ewick in Rocky River, thank you. That April Fool's Day snow caused a mess in some local highways. This is a look at I-90 West at Hilliard Boulevard in Rocky River this morning, where an accident led to a pileup, a ramp closure, and backed up traffic. That area is now open. Now to I-77, which was closed in both directions from the Ohio Turnpike to Wheatley Road after several crashes involving more than 20 cars. Richfield police say 6 were taken to the hospital with serious but not life-threatening injuries. I-77 is back open as well. Some discouraging news on the coronavirus front in Ohio. Governor DeWine warns the case rate is going up. One effort to stop it, beginning next week, the state will begin its program to vaccinate all college students. They'll get the one-shot Johnson & Johnson version if they request it.
I think that they understand that they can be spreaders. I think they want to go see their grandmother. They want to go see family and friends. And it just is something that I think you're going to see a lot of young people do.
The governor also said he has been speaking with union groups, factories, and other businesses that will team up with providers to offer shots right at work. We could start seeing that in the next 2 to 3 weeks. April is Stress Awareness Month, and in these times, chronic stress is taking its toll on many. What can we do about it? Monica Robbins has some valuable insight.
Chronic stress is a killer, literally. Not only does it cause headaches, stomach disorders, and depression, it can also lead to stroke and heart attacks. So how do we get a grip? I talked to Metro Health psychologist Dr. Robert Smith. He's battled life-threatening cancer for 5 years, and on April Fool's Day went in for another surgery. He knows a thing or two about life and death stress. His first rule, recognize what you can't control and let it go.
What do I have control over? My thoughts, my feelings, my actions. That's it.
Change your mindset to one of gratitude. What are you thankful for? Who are you grateful to have in your life? Write them a letter.
We have research that shows that if you do this exercise, you can feel that increase in happiness or mood up to 30 days later.
Practice selfless acts that have impact. Something simple, like planting a tree.
I'll never get to sit under that tree and enjoy it, but others will. And knowing that you can make that kind of impact, for me, that makes all the difference in the world.
Be present. You can't change yesterday. You don't know what awaits tomorrow. So focus on the next 5 minutes.
What I've learned is worry is an utterly useless emotion because you have no control.
Sure. I always say worry is what you do when you have nothing constructive to do.
Listen to Dr. Smith's entire inspiring interview on my podcast, Health Yeah, with Monica Robbins. Find it and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Monica Robbins, 3 News.
Tonight, we are getting a look inside the new human trafficking drop-in center in the Glenville neighborhood. The Cleveland Rape Crisis Center opened that center to fill a gap in its services for survivors of human trafficking. They'll offer a variety of services and programming. Ohio ranks 5th in the nation for total human trafficking cases. More tears today in Minneapolis as the Derek Chauvin murder trial continued for the 4th day. On the stand today, George Floyd's girlfriend and the paramedics called to the scene the day Floyd died. Jay Gray is live in Minneapolis outside the courtroom with details. Jay, good evening to you.
Hey there, Russ, and good evening to you. Look, those paramedics really outlining Floyd's condition as they arrived and what happened next. But it was his girlfriend who was on the stand first today and really struggled at times to get through her testimony. Fighting through tears.
Floyd came to me.
George Floyd's girlfriend tells jurors she was at a difficult time in her life when they first met.
He said, well, can I pray with you?
From the witness stand, Courtney Ross discusses their 3-year relationship, acknowledging she and Floyd battled opioid addiction, something defense attorneys pressed on during cross-examination.
It was your belief that Mr. Floyd started using again about 2 weeks prior to his death, correct?
I noticed a change in his behavior, yes.
For the first time, jurors also hear from the paramedics called to the scene the day Floyd died.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm?
Derek Smith's first response rushing to Floyd, trying to find a pulse.
Did not detect a pulse.
And what did his condition appear to be to you overall?
In lay terms, I thought he was dead.
Smith says he had to move police out of the way to get Floyd into the ambulance.
I wanted to get my patient to my rig as quickly as possible so I could begin my resuscitation efforts.
Efforts that ultimately were unable to save his life. Yeah, and Russ, some real telling testimony here right at the end of today's session, just a few minutes ago, from the police supervisor. He's since retired, but he was Derek Chauvin's supervisor the day all of this transpired. In fact, was at the scene after Floyd had died. He was pushed by prosecutors about when Chauvin should have eased up his restraint on Floyd, and said that it should have been as soon as George Floyd stopped resisting, when there wasn't any resistance. Prosecutors continued saying, does that mean when he was handcuffed and laying on the ground? And that supervisor answered right.
Wow. Let's talk about the next round of witnesses, Jay. Any idea who could be called, who could be on that list?
Yeah, and look, that's part of the deal here. We're not getting an advance copy of the witnesses that will be called. That leads to the intrigue in this case. But you would have to think, and a lot of legal observers agree, that what we saw at the end of the day today with the paramedics, with the police officers and trainers, that now the prosecution's moving really to the medical aspects of all of this and the policing side of all of this. So it may become a bit more technical as they move forward, Russ.
Okay, Jay Gray in Minneapolis. Thank you. Changing directions now. Snow or no snow, it is Major League Baseball opening day. The Indians began the season in Detroit this afternoon. Jimmy Donovan joined us with the highlights. And Jimmy, of course, it's important to remember there are 161 more to go.
Yes, and Russ, it's important to also get the Indians bats from Arizona to Detroit by Saturday because they did not arrive today. I wish I had better news for you. The Indians lose the opener today in front of 11,000 at the ballpark in Comerica Park today as they get beat by a score of 3-2. The Tigers nipped them in the end. All right, snow coming down. They had snow, they had sun, they had a little bit of sleet, they had pellets coming down, and they had Miguel Cabrera up in the bottom half of the first inning against Shane Bieber. Bieber made a mistake. He left a pitch up. Cabrera hits the ball out. He didn't realize it was a home run. He thought it was off the fence because he couldn't see it through the snow, but it was a home run, 488. How about that in his career? The Indians were down 3-0 in the ninth, and with 1 out and 1 on, Roberto Perez gave them their only run-delivering hit of the game, a 2-run homer to make it 3-2. Cesar Hernandez with the tying run on it. First base popped up with 2 outs, and that's it. The Indians lose. Shane Bieber takes a tough loss. He went 6 innings. He struck out 12, but the Tigers get game 1 of this series. 3-2. The two teams are off tomorrow. They'll continue on Saturday, and then Sunday, and then Monday when the Indians finally get back home to Progressive Field. And that's when we sign on, as it's opening day here on Channel 3. We'll have the ball game at 4 o'clock, the Indians and Royals, live from Progressive Field. But so much before that, as we'll be on the air at 2 o'clock as we have our Indians opening day special. We'll be live from Progressive Field and all around the city on a very special opening day as you, the fans, will be allowed back in to Progressive Field. Only one game, Russ. Only one game. But I'd like to see that Indians offense start to go. I've told you throughout the days of Cactus League games, yeah. I'm not too worried, but I'm starting to get a little worried.
Bats hopefully on the way from out west. All right, Jimmy, thank you. We're going to check in with you in just a bit.
You got it.
Coming up tonight, hope for brighter days, how a local church gathered to raise more than $30,000 to help residents stay in their homes. Plus, an extra sweet weekend, the candy shop that went above and beyond to make sure kids at Rainbow have a happy Easter. Hey, Betsy.
Hi there, Russ. Well, the good news is today was the tough day. Tomorrow we start to get better, and then it is full speed ahead right on into the weekend. I have details on the forecast outlook coming up.
What Matters Most is sponsored by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
Welcome back. Now an incredible show of support from a South Euclid church. Today, church leaders unveiled a project that is no doubt a game changer for many. Members raised more than $30,000 to help struggling residents stay in their homes.
I think the beauty of this is we're not a congregation full of super wealthy people. We're a congregation full of average, everyday people. And average, everyday people gave so that average, everyday people can stay in their homes.
Reverend Courtney Jenkins, senior pastor of United Church of Christ, calls this a dream come true, a lifesaver in a time of struggle.
The $34,062 is 10% of the gifts given during the first quarter of 2021. And what we did was we were able to give a portion of the gifts right back to the members here.
The church is partnering with several local organizations to help distribute the money to those who are facing evictions and foreclosures.
It was very important to us to make sure that these dollars do get back into the city of Cleveland, most specifically. So we identified 20 households to assist there.
Reverend Jenkins says the church often helps with food pantry donations, but it wanted to make a bigger impact to meet the bigger need.
And then our largest contribution will go to CHN Housing Partners, who will receive over $15,000 to help people with mortgage, rent, and property tax to help people stay in their homes.
Reverend Jenkins says this is what the church should be doing and called housing security essential for one and all.
Because so often people come to churches and say, hey, I need help. And churches are famous for saying, we'll pray for you. But it's great to be a church that can back prayer up with purpose and with power and with a donation to lighten the load.
The church will share its message and thank its members during services this Sunday, which of course is Easter. And more than 150 Easter baskets were delivered to patients at University Hospital's Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital today. All City Candy in Richmond Heights has been asking customers for donations to create those Easter treats. The baskets were filled with all types of candy to make sure the children have an extra sweet Easter weekend. That is very nice. It is now 6:16 on this Thursday. Wow, that snow. You said it was going to happen, Betsy, but I got to tell you, it still was a shock on April 1st.
It was a shock, and I will be completely honest, the intensity of the snow kind of took a lot of folks by surprise. It took me by surprise, and once it really started coming down, what's the matter?
Is your mic on?
It is? Yeah.
April Fools.
Dang it! I'm so mad I fell for that. I told everybody last night at 11, I'm always like this all day. Like,
all right.
Oh, game on, Russ Mitchell.
Okay. Just getting you back for last week when you played a joke or two on me.
I'm not creative enough to be able to come up with anything after that. I'm a little gobsmacked right now. But yes, I was surprised by the snow. Okay, yes. Now let's talk about weather. Okay. Every now and again, man, he gets me so good. All right, temperatures are going to be just below freezing as we head through the next few hours. Cloudy skies to continue. Now I'm listening to make sure my microphone is on. Those partly cloudy skies will begin developing. Look how the snow has just been shutting down from north to south across the lakes. This is a 12-hour view, and you can kind of see from early morning all the way down to where we are right now. So early morning, you'll see the snow going here, and watch how this line just keeps to moving south as we've gone through the afternoon. The back edge, the clouds have been clearing out throughout Lake Huron. We still have a couple more hours of these scattered light snow showers to go, but thankfully it looks like the heavy stuff that we had earlier is now moving out. And just like you put an ice cube on the counter and it takes some time to melt, those intense bursts of snow will put down a quick coating on the roads, and it takes some time to melt off. Once it stops snowing, that snow melted and the roads dried out actually as we got to see some sun. But you can see how that snow is beginning to shut down big time off of Lake Huron, and so it's just kind of light flurries from here. The northwest wind is to blame, and it is a cold wind at that. Man, temperatures have been brutally chilly today. Not only is it cold air temperatures, but the wind chills down in the teens. That got your attention as you stepped out the door, most certainly. The good news is we told you it was a pothole as far as today's weather goes, because literally it's a pothole roll. This big dip over the eastern half of the country is moving out, and the warmer air will be moving in. It's going to take some time, so it's a little bit of a transition, but that big day of transition will be coming in tomorrow, and you can see there's not a cloud in the sky for 4 states west of us, so we have pretty good prospects to be seeing some sun. Here's your National Designer hour-by-hour forecast, and as we pass the midnight hour, notice the temperatures mid-20s farther south, so it's a hard freeze potential tonight, and I know a lot of folks are worried about the daffodils and whatnot, so this is rather unfortunate as far as that goes. But the good news is tomorrow we're going to flip it. As I mentioned, northwest winds will continue, but we will get to see some sunshine, especially in the afternoon, and that's going to help us out a little bit. We'll manage to make it back up toward that 40-degree mark throughout much of northern Ohio, maybe even a couple clicks warmer. 42 or so in greater Cleveland, and your Union Home Mortgage outlook. Back into the 50s on Saturday with a mix of clouds and sun. Low 60s for our Easter Sunday. Home opener still looking pretty good. A little cooler along the lake shore by the afternoon, maybe some 50s. But once we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, rain chances return as well as temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70. Russ.
All right, Betsy, you're a great sport. Thank you.
Got me so good.
Coming up tonight, baseball in the snow. What was it like for Shane Bieber to pitch an opening day in that winter weather? We'll hear from him next.
One, two, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This sports report is sponsored by the people-pleasing people at Sarah Auto Park in Akron.
Hi again, everybody. The Indians come up short in Detroit today on opening day. They lose to the Tigers by a final score of 3-2. They played from behind right from the outset in the ball game. They played against the weather and against Miguel Cabrera, who got him in the first inning with a 2-run homer. But down 2-0, Shane Bieber made another mistake in the second inning, and number 9 hitter Jacoby Jones hit the ball off the wall and left. If Eddie Rosario hits the cutoff man, they have a shot at the plate. But he didn't. He missed the cutoff guy. Kids, you have to hit the cutoff man. It's a basic fundamental. Roberto Perez, down 3-0 in the 9th inning with a man on, hits a 2-run homer. What's the lesson to learn? Hit the cutoff man. 2 short throws are easier than 1 long throw. Tough loss for Bieber. He went 6 innings and struck out 12.
I was excited, man, to be honest with you. I liked the energy that we had in the dugout. I felt a lot of energy from, that type of adversity. Was excited to face it. Obviously, things didn't pan out there in the first 2 innings. But, it is what it is. A lot more starts to be had.
Okay, the worry coming into the year, are they going to be able to hit? And specifically, if they fall behind, can they come from behind with that offense? Today, they didn't hit. They only had 6 hits. And what else, everybody? Repeat with me. They missed the cutoff man. Pitching matchup, they're off tomorrow. Game 2 coming up Saturday afternoon. Zach Plesac will get the start for the Indians. Game 2 against the Tigers. And then they finish up that series on Sunday. And then they come back home for the home opener on Monday. Guess who got a huge contract? If you guessed Francisco Lindor, you're right. While we were all in bed last night, he got a $341 million deal stretched over 10 years with the Mets. He gets it before he ever played 1 game with the Mets. And he didn't play today because their game against Washington got postponed because the Nationals got hit with COVID-19. All right, the Cavaliers just about ready to tip off against the 76ers over at the Fieldhouse tonight. Philly has the 2nd best record in the East. They come in at 32-15. The Cavs a little bit worse than that. They're 17-30. But how about this? They get 2 players back tonight. Kevin Love, he's available tonight. Matthew Dellavedova, he's available tonight for the Cavaliers as they get set to play in that game. We'll have highlights coming up later tonight. And Roy Williams is leaving as head basketball coach at North Carolina. That's a big job opening. That's one of the biggies around the country. He won 3 national titles with the Tar Heels. He coached Kansas. He coached North Carolina for about 18 years, and now he steps away from the program. That wraps up sports. Russ, I hope we gave you the highlights and maybe a baseball lesson tonight.
You did. Also a lesson in economics. 10 years, $341 million for Francisco Lindor? Wow.
Unbelievable.
Not a bad deal. All right, Jimmy. Thank you.
Not a bad deal, Russ. You got it.
And we thank you so much for watching. Jimmy, Sarah, and January are in at 7 o'clock for our Turning Point special. Lester is up next. I'll see you back here later tonight.